Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. If there was ever a song that would be apropos for the
Right.
final waiver wire show of the year, Bloom, I think
Right.
it's Finding Dory. Just keep
Yeah.
swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. It
I
is
was
there.
Go ahead. I was
No.
thinking Europe. The final countdown.
Either way, this is it.
Yeah. This
So let's give them a good show.
Make no mistake.
Let's
Sorry,
just sing the whole show.
I just want to sing falsetto poorly. Very
Right.
poorly.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, you made it to your Week 17 Fantasy Championship, and that means hopefully your waiver wire's open. And we are here for you. It is time to talk about the waivers in Week 17, and it is time to talk about those quarterbacks who should be available in your league, Bloom. And just like last week's show, we'll get to Dr. Gene Bramall's injury notes. You can check out those at footballguys.com. It's Christmas week and New Year's week, so we're going to have to figure out something as far as scheduling goes for that again. So check out footballguys.com for all of Dr. Gene's injury news and notes. And then in terms of the positions, you and I are just going to go position by position. We're going to chop this thing up. But when we start with quarterbacks, we start with a guy. And yes, Tyler Huntley and Davis Mills. Yes. Carson Wentz, if he's out there, all 50+%. It's basically swing your sword time. And then, and the guys like Nick Foles, Josh Johnson, Zach Wilson, whatever. 1%ers. But Trey Lance is the guy. And I happen to be conversating with, let's just say, someone in the know. And I wanted to know how Trey looks in practice, right? Because I've been keeping tabs just behind the scenes. Hey, what's going on? How's he look? The word that was used, fantastic. Fantastic.
Lance-tastic.
For Trey Lance. Lance-tastic. Now, the delay. What has been the delay in playing Trey Lance? Well, we know that Kyle Shanahan's got to get this right. Okay, this was Shanahan's guy. It wasn't Mac Jones. Okay, it wasn't overridden or whatever. What bogus rumors were out there, Bloom, about the 49ers and it was going to be Mac Jones.
Mind.
And then they changed their mind. They never changed their mind. They never changed their mind. Kyle Shanahan, this was his pick. This was his guy. Now, what's been the delay? There's a couple of things. One, they were going to ride Jimmy as long as they could ride Jimmy. And here we are. It's not a full season, and Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. Nobody's surprised, not even the 49ers. They were ready for this. They were prepared for this. Now, the other delay in Trey Lance in running the full offense, note how I say that, Bloom, is language. Language. This is the most difficult offense to learn from a language standpoint. Now, it's simple. It's a simple offense. It's a Shanahan offense. Run and bootlegs and play action and rollouts and all those sorts of things. It's very simple, but to call it is very, very complicated. So in terms of the language barrier for the rookie Trey Lance, it's there. I'm sure it's there. I'm sure they will run a very small version of their playbook. But again, Bloom, when I asked someone who would know how has Trey Lance looked running that, the word was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what makes an interesting Week 17 here. Okay, so to touch on some of these things real quick. Carson Wentz, Davis Mills are more Hail Marys, but still preferred Hail Marys. And look, Week 17, waiver wire is actually still pretty important because let's wait, Cease, maybe by 4 o'clock today, you might be looking for a new quarterback, right? Or tomorrow or Thursday. So whatever players that you think you're going to have for your lineup today, you may not have by the time the games play on Sunday. At least we don't have any Thursday games or Saturday games to deal with. So you want to make sure you have a live starter on your bench, maybe 2. Carson Wentz, Davis Mills. In 2 quarterback superflex leagues, Nick Foles, maybe Josh Johnson, although I think Tyler Huntley got activated, so Josh Johnson's off of that list now. Zach Wilson, yes, with his running ability. And then there's Tyler Huntley. Now, again, this has been a really interesting year for don't trust the coaches. See, how many times when a coach says they're optimistic a player is going to play on Monday or Tuesday do they actually play?
Right.
It seems like this year has been low, okay? So I would project that Lamar Jackson's not going to play and project that Tyler Huntley's there for you. And there's Trey Lance. And you gave us some good intel there, Cease. And Cease, these teams have resources probably similar to what the space program had in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can put a man on the moon, then you can make a language system that can work for a week, right? Or a couple of weeks, or for the playoffs. Right. These teams are rigid. And Cease, just admit it, you and Kyle Shanahan are boys, right? Like, you guys go bowling every Thursday together. Like, since CJ Anderson's not your partner anymore, so Trey Lance sets up a really interesting decision for fantasy teams because you're going to weigh Trey Lance maybe against some options that you were expecting to trust in the fantasy championship and now you're not so sure about, or otherwise there's the tantalizing upside of 10 or 12 rush attempts and all hands on deck, right? Debo Samuel, well, again, assuming no issues, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, even Juszczyk. So this all sets up good. Oh, by the way, did I mention they're playing the Texans? Don't tell Justin Herbert that, though. So yeah, I'm going to give you a nudge. Maybe not to play over Tyler Huntley, only because Baltimore secondary is like putting gasoline on a fire for a passing game. So maybe Tyler Huntley is ahead of Trey Lance on the list of quarterbacks you never expected to play in your fantasy to play. Trey Lance is, I'm not going to talk you out of Trey Lance. Let me put it that way. If you're saying, I'm thinking of starting Trey Lance over Justin Herbert. Hey, after what Denver did to Herbert earlier this year, I'm not going to talk you out of that.
I'm not going to talk you out of that. So you've got some quarterback options if you're in the fantasy championship. And Bloom, well, you have some running back options here as well. So again, just kind of the whole thing at the same time. Dr. Gene Bramwell's injury reports available at footballguys.com. And I trust that you are subscribing to Football Guys. And again, swing your sword, guys, with everybody. And we did get quite a few Rex Burkhead lineups, Bloom.
I know.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
We saw people that sent the screenshots with Burkhead, and the one guy was like, yeah, waivers have been closed for 3 weeks. Burkhead started in this league. So congratulations. But if he's out there, 50+% for him, Jordan Howard, Justin Jackson, Rashad Penny, Boston Scott, Darrell Williams, although there was some news about Clyde Edwards-Helaire I wrote about in our newswire. Your 1%ers are Michael Carter, Kenneth Gainwell, Dare Ogunbowale, and Jamal Williams, all at 1%. So, a lot of the times we get to fantasy championships and there's not much, or if there is, there's not much that you would want. This year it seems to be opposite. Lots of weird things this year, Bloom.
Yeah, it's a vibrant active time. I'll give you one. Brian Thies. At New York Jets CY, picked up Rex Burkhead and Justin Jackson on Sunday morning, and the New Orleans defense put him in the championship by 0.7. 0.7. I saw Daddy's Home FF, by the way, is in the Scott Fish Bowl finals. So, friend of the show. Lots of fun stuff going on in Week 17. And, well, you need to know about the running backs. Darrell Williams, like you said, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it's not a fracture. It's a bruise. Will he play with it? I still think that Darrell Williams gives you the passing game upside, gives you some goal line carries, although Clyde Edwards-Helaire had the goal line carry of his career against the Steelers. So Burkhead, Justin Jackson, he's still out there. So Justin Jackson we're kind of looking at as a Tony Pollard type. I guess that's just public leagues. The biggest question, and then there's Rex Burkhead, who, asking Lightning to strike twice against San Francisco. We'll see. San Francisco was pretty stout against Tennessee's running game last week. I think Rex Burkhead turns back into a pumpkin. And then there's Rashad Penny, if he was dropped after his down week. And Rashad Penny ran with great toughness. We didn't see in the Rashad Penny, San Diego State Aztecs baby scouting report, tackle breaking. He wasn't Javonte Williams. This was not Javonte Williams kind of tape. He was more elusive, maybe less elusive than he thought he was, but still, that was his card that he would play. He was initiating contact and winning collisions last week, and it is a game against Detroit. So out of Burkhead, the Philadelphia backs, which I'm going to get to, Justin Jackson, and Penny is probably number one. Now, we'll see if we have more names on this list. This is the other thing, Cease, right? Like, usually the waiver wires calms down by like Tuesday. Not in 2021. The waiver wire could change on any given day. So then we get to the Philly backs. Jordan Howard left with a stinger. Now, remember a few years ago when he had, I think it was with Philly, he had a stinger neck shoulder thing that it seemed like every week he was going to be close to returning, and he didn't, and then he didn't, and then he didn't, and it went on for weeks and weeks. That's eerie, right? That looms over this situation. I know they may say they're hopeful he's going to play, but as Rob Monticelli, I think it was in our chat room, said if you had to pick, or no, Jewett said in our chat room, if you have to pick one out of Boston Scott and Jordan Howard, I would say, because we know Miles Sanders isn't playing, I would say it's Boston Scott because we know that a similar injury kept Jordan Howard out a lot longer than they planned on. And remember, this Philadelphia team is in the playoffs right now as we speak, and they could even clinch a playoff spot this weekend if things break their way. So would you rather use Jordan Howard to beat a Washington team that is dead in the water, or save him and maybe have him full speed? I don't know what they know internally about Miles Sanders, but I would say it's Boston Scott over Jordan Howard, but Jordan Howard can end up being that guy. I would say your priority pickup is Brashad Penny, and then we'll see about Darrell Williams, and Justin Jackson is still there for you. If you have to go desperate, there's Michael Carter after a great week, but he's playing Tampa. There's Kenneth Gainwell, no Howard. Now Gainwell becomes a what-the-heck flex type. Dare Ogunbowale. I haven't heard anything about Carlos Hyde, but that James Robinson thing just sucks, man. And then Jamal Williams, and we could probably throw Craig Reynolds in there too, but Detroit's facing Seattle run defense that actually bottled up David Montgomery last week. So I don't know what to think about the Seattle run defense. I know that if there's running back options you need, there are running back options that you can get.
Yes, running back is a thing, and then wide receiver isn't.
No.
Okay, so hopefully batten down the hatches and you're ready to go with your wide receivers. And it's a very short list of wide receiver upgrades, downgrades, and waiver wire report available at footballguys.com. Again, Dr. Gene Brammel's injury report is also available at footballguys.com. 50+% for Tyler Boyd. Okay, they used him against the Broncos. Fine, that was once. Then they used him again, and you're like, oh, okay, it's a thing now. So 50+% if he's out there. And then Isaiah McKenzie. Yes, Isaiah McKenzie making clutch catches for the Buffalo Bills. He's a 50+%er as well. A couple 1%ers in KJ Osborne and Byron Pringle. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's all for your wide receivers. Pretty lean group this week.
Yeah, I think the big highlight here is Isaiah McKenzie. Because now it's been 2 games. Dwayne McFarland did a good job highlighting this before the game. It's been 2 games now that Cole Beasley's been out. McKenzie becomes the slot receiver. And there was a really good breakdown of how the Buffalo Bills did it. Brian Daboll didn't get a head coach job last year, which is probably Buffalo's gain. They were able to isolate Isaiah McKenzie on basically the linebacker, because of the way that the New England defense was playing Buffalo. And that was a matchup that you're going to win every time. You're going to win every time with Isaiah McKenzie's speed, and he was clutch. And Atlanta, I mean, maybe he won't have quite the volume, but that's someone I'm going to put in. Tyler Boyd, it was a busted coverage. Don't get me wrong, it was a busted coverage. But still, against Kansas City, what do we know about Tyler Boyd? He's the struggle target. When things aren't coming as easy to Joe Burrow, to Jamar Chase, to T. Higgins, it's Tyler Boyd. And I think against Kansas City's defense, there's at least some range of outcomes where it is a game where Tyler Boyd has to scratch everything out for Joe Burrow, especially on third downs. So Tyler Boyd becomes someone that we've had quite the oscillating pendulum year with him and with the Cincinnati Bengals in general. So yeah, that's quite a game to look forward to, and maybe you look forward to it more if Tyler Boyd is in your lineup. And I don't want to say as an aside, because we're getting a lot of good questions in the chat room. This will be a briefer than usual waiver wire show, and I won't be able to get to them. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter, especially after the new year on Sunday. I'm going to try to get to as many Week 17 questions as I can. We appreciate you all. You're the best. Sometimes it's not easy to get the energy up, but our people show up, and that gets our energy up every time.
Blue, everybody's watched this show all year. It's like most of the time you're watching me literally wake up.
Right.
Right.
The dream world and the real world are merging, Cecil.
They are merging, that's for sure. It's like the new Matrix, which again, You're a super
That's for our
fan,
movie
you're
review
like,
podcast.
That's true. That's coming up. An off season full of fun and hijinks for the Audible. So make sure to stay tuned all season long for that. It is the tight end position. And speaking of thin, well, there's two basically. And, again, there's dynasty waivers. We're going to have our snorkel scuba
submarine. Yeah.
It's only taken me 16 years to get that. But yes, snorkel, scuba, submarine, our dynasty show will be coming up. Bloom, when should we do? We should do that like right when the regular season ends, right? Like it seems like my timing's always off with that, but I think that should be coming up real soon.
Yeah, although you do also get the reserve future contracts that players get signed to after a team is eliminated from the playoffs. So there's also that.
And we'll be talking about Brevin Jordan on that show for sure.
Yes.
Wherever you want to put him, snorkel, scuba, whatever. Like I love him. Love him from a dynasty standpoint. You love him as a 1%er this week. Gerald Everett is 50+% this week. So situations at tight end are a little thin for you, Bloom, but there's a couple.
Yeah, and Rob Montelli asked Josh Palmer worth a pickup. Sure, Josh Palmer. I just with Mike Williams officially ruled out. So there's another wide receiver pickup for you. And then my projections will be coming out today, and you'll probably see some good 1 week, one-off pickups. Gerald Everett, if he's still out there, has redeemed himself. Remember that game when he actually lost 3 touchdowns for Seattle? So he's redeemed himself from that game, and he had a touchdown that counted last week. He's been getting more of those. He's going up against Detroit. Otherwise, you have to go desperate to Brevin Jordan, the rookie connection. And Brevin Jordan, active, didn't play a snap 2 weeks ago. Last week, you just see the athleticism. He fits on an NFL field, and he fits with his rookie quarterback, Davis Mills. And the Texans, you got to love seeing teams like the Texans, the Lions. These teams, they don't care about the line. They don't care about the matchup. They don't care about the records. They want to win. It's not really what it should be all about, unless you're Shad Khan.
That's to that I would say double true. So here we go, everyone. And it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
That I play this video because again, I've said it multiple years. Like I will hear this song as I'm bumping around the Mile High City, and then I'll think, oh, I haven't said that in a while because it'll be August, September? It'll be September before I say this again?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe but we can always have a New Year's resolution to start really cueing the Chuck D on more things in our life, right? I'll tell you the story about I've got a good one that would apply to you, but that's for our family therapy show.
Okay.
Maybe we don't have to wait until the waiver wire. See, I'm taking the baton from you, Cecil. Maybe you don't have to wait for fantasy football. Maybe you don't have to act it out through your fantasy team, which is your perfect little world where you can control everything. And the world's messy and people are messy and you can't control people. Heck, you can't even control yourself. But sometimes you have that lightning bolt of clarity. Sometimes you know that this is the thing that's holding me back. And I have to cue the Chuck D on this thing in my life so that it can get better. But no, I'm not going to cue the Chuck D on Baconators and Mountain Dew, right, Cease?
That's how I got to this point.
You're into the diet, man. I'm eating all this good stuff up in Michigan. There's this great place. I'm staying in Milford, Michigan, and there's this great place, the Village Butcher Shop. Oh, my. They have these things, Hunter sausages. Oh, and then you're like, this is another thing that I can't eat, right? Cecil's like, this is another thing that I can't eat. Hunter sausage. So I know I'm going to cue the Chuck D on not exercising when the season's over. How about that? The football 15 might have become a football 40 this year, Cease.
Right. The scale may say 1 when I step on it next time. I'm 2 pounds away from my goal weight. So
wow. The scale's going to say, Cecil, is that you?
Right.
Wow.
What happened? How about this is what happens.
So I want everyone to say it with me and scream it to the heavens. Okay? From the edge of the Rocky Mountains to you, wherever you may be. I want you to all say it with me. Cue the Chuck D!
All right, Bloom. It's championship week. It is time to shut them down.
And the interesting thing here, Cease, is that it really is, we'll touch on this a little bit, it really is the potential for the Paul Charchian, who's the guest on the couch this week, the sabotage drop, right? I mean, you really can drop a player this week and maybe induce your opponent into playing them. I've got one name in mind. Just being housekeeping here, Cam Newton, Tyler Heineke. I'm even in 2 quarterback superflex leagues. They're not going to play the whole week. Jamie Garoppolo, probably not going to play. You can shut him down. Gerald Henderson, James Robinson, Miles Sanders, not playing. You can shut him down. How about Saquon Barkley as a sabotage drop, right? I'm not playing him, not against Chicago, although Rashad Penny was pretty good against Chicago last week. This is a name that I think you may consider as a week 17 sabotage drop. Russell Gage, after his fumble, playing Buffalo. I'm probably, they could be trailing. It could be Russell Gage game, but I'm okay with sabotage dropping him. I probably okay with sabotage dropping Terry McLaurin. I feel so bad for him. Get him a quarterback. Terry McLaurin firmly on the Allen Robinson career track right now. Please get him a quarterback. And not a sabotage drop, but looks like the Drew Lock to Albert Oguebanom. And there is a really good montage, Cecil, I have to find it for you, of all the different ways that announcers have said Oguebanom.
Please send it to me.
Yeah. So, it didn't work out. Going up against the Chargers, it might work out, but I'm probably not going to count on it. Shut them down.
Shut them down. And then to get your ring, you cue up the drums and you say, well, there's some guys I just want on my team. I'm not going to play them. Maybe they're done for the year, but I want James Robinson to win a ring, right? So who are some of those hold-ons in championship week?
Yeah, and now that you have clarity, now granted, you need to have a pretty nice bench because who knows who's going to end up on the COOF list by the end of the week. But I love the idea of picking up players. Maybe you wait until Sunday morning to do it. Picking up players to potentially get a ring. Just don't put Bill Buckner out there to play first base, okay? Who we hold on to, and some of the strategic, James Conner's probably going to be a game time decision. Dante Foreman, I don't know if I want to play him, but I don't know if I want to face him either against Miami. We'll see if Tennessee can get that running game on track. Do not drop Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams. In fact, probably play them. It's the Chargers. Did you see what Rex Burkhead did? And do not drop Cordero Patterson. It's Buffalo's run defense, but it also is a game that can get out of hand. Because these are players that kind of fall into, I think the Denver backs I probably want to play. But some of these guys are falling into, I'm holding them so I don't face them, just in case I was wrong about not wanting to play them. Plus, they're still useful depth. Same goes for Van Morrison. Boy, goof on the brain there. Van Jefferson. He's not even Justin Jefferson. He's not even Van Jefferson. He's not even Van Morrison. So Van Jefferson against Baltimore. Again, do I want to play him? I'm not sure. Probably play Odell Beckham over him. But do I want to face him? No. Emmanuel Sanders, same thing, right? He didn't do last week, but maybe he will against Atlanta. Especially if A.J. Terrell, again, one of the most underreported players, breakout players this year. If he locks up Stephon Diggs, well, that's another reason to like Isaiah McKenzie. Maybe it's a reason to like Emmanuel Sanders. Maybe not enough to play him, but I don't want to face him in all important week 17.
He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Van Jefferson. Hell, he's not even Wheezy from the Jeffersons.
Moving on up.
George and Wheezy, man.
Fish
George and
don't
Wheezy.
fry in the chicken. Wait, kitchen.
Beans don't fry on the grill.
Fish don't.
Got a lot of holes.
You and me, baby. Ain't nothing more than that.
Well, they're moving on up.
Moving on up.
That's right. Okay. Any final messages for our final waiver wire show of 2021, Bloom?
I just want to say again, and this is something that strikes me as we're doing the show, Cease, and there's always a layer that is the greatest gift of this show. The greatest gift of this show. It's not that getting a profession that is not scratching, clawing away at us every week, every day, like some people listening to us now have, and we thank you for everything you do, your service to humanity. It's two things, Cease. One is getting to spend time with you. It's friends, man. I mean,
right.
No, it's great because they say no one on their deathbed ever says, I wish I spent more time at the office. But this is the office. And we would wish that because it's time spent with you and time spent with our people. And I really want to say that in this day and age, when you can look at social media and you can look at the way the internet's pervasiveness in our life, transmits and amplifies negative things. It also allows us to be part of each other's lives, especially at a time that some of us might be, well, not going out very much, you know? And I feel all of you out there. I can feel you. I can perceive you. I receive your love. I receive your goodwill. I receive that sense of validation. See, everybody wants to be seen and heard. And aren't we lucky that for our job, we get to be seen and heard because we need the attention. Lord knows we need it for whatever reason. That's for a different show. That's for On the Couch, right?
Truly on the couch.
And for the people that show up, whether it's to send messages to us, to send messages to each other, to help answer each other's questions, to give us questions, to let us know the finger on the pulse of the fantasy world, even those of you who don't participate in the chat. And you just tick that number up with your like, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTube things, help grow the channel. It matters. We feel you, and it makes a difference in our life more than you can know, especially now that it's week 17, Cecil, and we're doing a Waiver Wire show. So we needed you, and you came through. The Waiver Wire pickup of the week is the Audible crowd.
The Audible crowd. We appreciate each and every one of you out there for watching, for listening, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, because couldn't do it without you. He's Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on Twitter at Sigmund Bloom. The show is at the Audible. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying thank you very much. Stay tuned. And as always, you had better do one thing and one thing only. Stay frosty.